All right, good morning, everyone. So today we are going to open Adobe Illustrator for the first time. And there's a few things that I want to walk you through. We're going to be doing this in class, but I do want to also provide a video if you either missed the class or you need to revisit to go and sharpen up a little bit. So I've opened up Adobe Illustrator. You can see down here at the bottom that the icon is AI. It's brown and yellow. You can see that in multiple places. If you're on a PC, you go to the little start window icon in the bottom. You can scroll to Adobe Illustrator. If you're using one of the classroom provided laptops, just make sure that you're using the most recent version of Adobe Illustrator. You might have a couple like Adobe 2020 or Illustrator 2020, 22. You might have 23. We're working on getting those things updated, but just know for now, there's not going to be huge changes between the versions, but use the most current one that you can. Once you have it open, this is the screen that you'll get. You see that I've got a bunch of recent files. So I've got a ton of designs that I've been working on. You, since this is the first time that you've opened this program up, will not have anything down here, which is fine. So what I do want us to do, we're just going to open a new file. So click on the blue icon top left here, new file, and it gives us a bunch of templates to choose from. You can see that my recent items, I've got 20 recent items, and most of them are under the print section. So if you look up on top here, we have sections. We have mobile, web, print, film, video, art, illustration, and more templates. If we're designing for anything that's getting printed on, like a piece of paper, or in my case, I do a lot of t-shirt printing. Having the tab here for print gives us some basic settings. So go ahead and hit print. You'll see that we have some basic blank document presets. We are going to be in letter, so we can click on letter. But then over here on the right side, we have some additional options. I think yours kind of looks like that. Points is the default. And it's hard to read points, especially when you're just starting out. We're all used to inches. So let's change this points to inches. And then it'll give us 8.5 inches for the width and 11 inches for the height. That is a standard sheet of paper. Remember that, 8.5 by 11. We have artboards down here, so and orientation. So we have this highlighted in blue. So this is portrait, and this is landscape. So we're going to keep it in portrait. But if you wanted to change it, you can just click on that, and you can see it switches the two, width and height. But keep it in portrait. We're just going to have one artboard, and I'll show you what that is here in a second. Next, we have bleed. We're not going to deal with any of bleed, so that's for more advanced printing options. Basically, if you wanted to send something to the printer and it's full, like a full sheet that has color all the way from edge to edge, we need to give some bleed space for the printer to do some trimming. And you don't need to know anything about that right now. We will go through that later in the year. But I do also want you to go into the advanced options. So just hit the drop-down menu. And even though we're in print, and most things, when they get printed as CMYK, that's cyan, magenta, yellow, black. It gives a duller look on the computer screen because the computer reads in RGB, that's red, green, blue. And so I like playing in RGB just because it looks more vibrant. We have like a richer color, we get more color options. And so there are reasons why when we develop things in CMYK, but we're not going to deal with that to start. So just go ahead and change CMYK color to RGB. And if you don't see it, I just click that little tab, so the advanced options tab, and then change color mode from CMYK to RGB, and then hit create. And this, let me get rid of these. This is your artboard. What you see as white is the artboard. What you see as gray is called the paste board. So when we're developing or when we're designing on the artboard. If we have things that we don't know if we want to use, or we're just we don't want to delete them, we can keep them off in this dark gray area. And then when we print, it's only going to print the stuff that's inside that artboard. So artboard, pasteboard. Okay, this is my setup here, and it's probably looking a little different than yours. On the left side, we've got the toolbar, and I've got a bunch of tools over here. You probably have half the amount of tools. I'll change that. I'll show you where to change that here in a second. We have the document. This is actually the document right here. We did not name it. It's zoomed to 49.5%. It's set to RGB and CPU preview. And so when you name these things, the name of your document will live here. And you can open up multiple documents in this program. So there's lots of times where I'll open 5, 6, 7 different files, and they just list right here. So I can click, there's a tab, you can just click on the tab and it'll open up the different files. We have a bunch of option menu. This is we'll get in here often as well. So up here, you can go to file. This is where you're going to save everything. This is where we're going to go to print. If you're placing a file, we'll go and do some of that. So file, you'll be using often. We won't be using edit very often, but again, we'll go through there. So edit object, type, select, effect, view, window, help. Window, we will be in here quite a bit. And the one thing I do want to show you under window, so go ahead and come up here, is the toolbar. So toolbar, that's this guy over here. My toolbar is set to advanced. Yours, the default is basic. So you see something like this. Basic set of tools, and which is great, but let's go ahead and change that to advanced and get in the habit of making that advanced. It's just a bigger set of tools. And then before we get ourselves designing, I want you to go all the way over to the right side and go to the Properties tab. This is a panel, and again, we'll be in this thing a lot. Whenever we start designing, other options will pop open in this Properties panel. So I like to just keep this thing open while I'm working. And I'll show you here in a second. Quickly, we've got rulers and grids. Sometimes we will be needing the rulers, so you could just click on the ruler. You can see it's set to inches, 0 to 8.5, and then on this side 0 to 11. We have a grid pattern if we're trying to do something as a grid. So if you accidentally click those, you're like, Mr. Sandal, what are we doing? You can go under rulers and grids and you can turn those off. And then this one is transparency grid. So if you don't want any color, you're using white or a color that you can't see, a grid will help. But this is how I like it. So we'll just leave it like that. Okay. If you hover over any one of these tools, it gives you a preview of what it does, which is great. So if you get confused, especially starting out, like to hover over to get an idea of what they do is great. So get used to that too. I'm just kind of showing you here. This is a really, really powerful program, and so powerful, in fact, that they're updating it all the time. Things are new all the time. And although I've been working on this program for probably pushing 25 years, I don't know everything. And I learn new things about it all of the time, which is pretty fun. So there's an endless amount of learning to have happen. And I'm going to stop this video here. And in the next video, we're going to actually be designing. So that's the rundown of what the program looks like.